Alright guys, just wrapped up this 2024 Denali HD Ultimate. It's got the 6.5 BDS coilover conversion. We've adjusted it down to about 5.5 inches. You do that by decreasing the preload on the front coilovers, and then we use the block that comes in their 5-inch kit. You're going to have your low speed and high speed adjustments here and here. This is a full coilover conversion, as you can see. You do have to modify the frame slightly here. And this is so that when for one, so that your coilover will fit in there, but also at full droop your coilover doesn't come into contact with the frame. Real nice looking setup. One thing that we have noticed with this kit is the BDS sends some plates that are welded in here, but the ones that they send really don't give you enough clearance, so we built our own to add a little additional clearance so that we can make sure that at full droop there's no contact here. This kit does increase your track width by about 1 inch as the control arms, both the upper, lower, and your tie rod are about 1 inch longer. So it is going to give you some additional travel as well. We also include the BDS steering stabilizer. Be very minor trimming on this setup. I'm going to trim the very corner of the bumper, some of your inner plastic here, and then we went ahead and did a Kellerman cap as well. And then we trimmed the plastic across here to match. We've also moved the bumper forward 3/4 of an inch. One thing that's interesting when you're setting the ride heights on these newer 2500s, the rear fender line is a little bit lower than the front. So if you measure from the tire to the fender, the front is going to have 1 inch more gap. And that's how this one's set. Now this is going to be personal preference. Everybody wants theirs a little different. But even with the front having 1 inch more gap, when you put the level on the truck, it's just a little bit higher in the rear. Kind of interesting. We see a lot of people that just have different variances on how they want theirs. So essentially, if you make the front and rear fender gap exactly the same, you'll still have some more noticeable rake in the truck. On the rear, you're going to have the Fox 2.5 Resi shocks. They're also adjustable. And then, of course, we use the block that comes in the 5-inch kit. I believe it's a 4.5 inch block. So we also added a factory aux switch option. Not really factory for this truck, but still fits factory. All right, so it's going to go on the center console. Actually got a little light in here to show it to you. So this has to be trimmed out very precisely because it barely fits, and this is a GM option, just not on this model. And so they're all backlit. You can hit the ones that you want and turn on any accessories that you may want to turn on. Kind of a neat option. And then you're going to have the control box. You can't really see it, but it's mounted up under here. We built a bracket to attach that to the factory frame behind the dash. And so any additional lighting or accessories that you want to power by your aux switches, you're just going to wire in there. And that's it for that option. Really love how these coilover conversion kits look. Also worth mentioning that since we do have an increased track width on the front, with it being 1 inch wider, we do a 3/8 wheel spacer on the front and a 1 1/4 wheel spacer on the back, just to make everything even. You may ask, why don't we use a 1 inch wheel spacer on the back? I don't like to use a 1 inch wheel spacer on the back because you have to use really slim lug nuts and you don't get full thread engagement. With a 1 1/4 wheel spacer, you can still have full thread engagement. So that's the reason we do it that way. All right, guys, that's gonna be it on this one. If you have any questions, make sure you drop them in the comments. Like the video, subscribe, stay tuned for more.